Hello viewers. The 3rd of March 1987, after Mike finished his work, he decided to go out with his friends without going home. So he called his wife to inform that he will be late to home tonight. When he called, it kept on ringing but no one answered the phone call. Mike got suspicious and called his neighbor immediately and said that he called his wife but she didn't pick up his call and asked him to go and check on his home. Also, the neighbor went near Mike's house and knocked on the door and shouted, "Kathy, are you home?" But there is no response from the inside of the house. So he peeked into the house through the window and the TV in the house was on. Seeing this, the neighbor got suspicious. The TV in the house is on but there is no response to his call. So he decided to call the police as there is something wrong. But instead of calling the police, he took his car and went there to the city, which is exactly half a kilometer away. There, he brought the police along with him. When the police came and checked, the house door was locked. That is, it was not locked but the door is closed. Then the police officers asked him that if the door was locked. When he checked for that, the neighbor said that he just knocked on the door and called them. So now the police opened the door and went inside, and the house was completely dark. So the police took the torchlight and searched in the house and shouted, "Hello, is anyone there?" That is when in the living room sofa they saw 4-year-old Tasha was beaten and lies motionless. Immediately, the police went and checked and the 4-year-old Tasha was still alive. Then they heard a baby cried in the next room. On hearing this, the police took the gun out in his hand and starts searching by lighting a torch. In the next room, they saw Sean, who was only 2 months old, crying without any injuries. After that, he went to the next room. There, Mike's wife, Kathy, was naked and her hands were tied at the back and was lying down, dead in a pool of blood. But the police didn't know that this case is not going to end in a simple way. So, who killed Kathy? Why did they kill her? How did the police find out the killer? And how the investigation and forensics technology helped this case at that time? We are going to decode all the details detailedly in today's video. Come, let's move on to today's video. Catherine Lewis Martin was born on 25th of October 1959. She met her husband, Mike, when they were in high school. After that, they started dating. And in a few days, both of them decided to get married. But before both of them get married, Mike was put to jail for 2 years for selling drugs. Even though Mike went to jail, Kathy decided to wait till he comes out and marry him. After being released from jail after 2 years, both Mike and Kathy got married. After that, a 4-year-old Tasha and 2-month-old Sean was born to them. Kathy's father gave Mike a job in his business. When the situation like this is going, the things I said in the intro started to happen. The police officers who came to the crime scene immediately called the ambulance. 4-year-old Tasha and Kathy, all of them were taken to the hospital. Soon, Kathy's father came to the crime scene and asked about the children's whereabouts. The police asked him to go to the hospital. Likewise, Kathy's father went to the hospital and started to wait. And when he was waiting there is a news on the TV. Kathy's father knew only after seeing the news. His daughter Kathy was murdered and passed away. Seeing this, Kathy's father was shocked and got out of the hospital. He thought of his daughter and started crying. Now, Kathy's husband Mike who planned to go out with his friends. And when he called to say about that, everything was found. So now he came to the crime scene. The police investigators at the crime scene began to note down Mike's activities. At that time, Mike was wearing a blue t-shirt and a blue jeans. That's when one of the police officers there saw a stain in Mike's t-shirt. They don't know if it was a blood stain or not, but there was a stain. At the same time, police noticed blood in the bathroom inside the house. That means after the killer committed the murder and before leaving the house, he must have cleaned the blood in the bathroom. The police thought that the killer might have washed his hands and knife. That's when the police noticed another thing. Nothing happened to the doors and windows of the house. There is no forced entry in any of the place. That means the killer should have entered through the main door. If he came through the main door means Kathy should have allowed him to come inside. If Kathy allowed him inside means Kathy should have known him. Now, Kathy's body was sent to autopsy and it came to know that Kathy was raped and stabbed 19 times. If a stranger or a killer came and attacked for money or anything else means surely he wouldn't stab these many times. The police thought that the motive of murder is personal motive, and from the clothes of Kathy in the crime scene, the police could make an assumption about the crime scene. Kathy was naked at the crime scene. Her clothes were laid down near her in a folded manner. The killer didn't grab or tear Kathy's clothes. Kathy herself removed her dress and kept it near her in a folded manner. What the police thought is the killer threatened Kathy to do whatever he says. If not, he may say that he would kill her 4-year-old daughter and beaten her. And he was ready for everything. So he scared Kathy with that and asked Kathy to remove her dress. Kathy, who was scared that nothing should have happened to her children, she might have listened to what he said and might remove her dress. That's why the dress was not thrown away, but was folded and kept in a place, thought the police. Now, after that, the killer may cut the lamp wire and tied Kathy's hand behind her with that wire and raped and stabbed her 19 times. Kathy finally gave her life to save her children. The 4-year-old Tasha, who was admitted in the hospital, was still in a coma, and the doctors continuously provided the treatment. But at the same time, the police got Kathy's husband into the ring of investigation. Mike was very emotional at that time, even though he was like feeling for Kathy. Police have seen many situations like this. The reason why police was so suspicious because Mike planned to go out with his friends without going to home from work, and he called his wife Kathy just to inform about it. Police has seen many cases like this, killing his wife by himself or kill his wife by hiring someone else, and at the time to show him in another place at the time of murder. From there, they will call to his home or calling the neighbors and asking them to go and check the house. By doing this, the police will not be suspicious then. But this was the first reason for the police to suspect Mike. If a crime has been committed, the police will first bring their family and friends into the investigation ring. Only after they are cleared, they add others to the suspect list. As already said, Kathy's husband Mike was very nervous when he came to the crime scene, and there was some stains on his t-shirt. So they sent that t-shirt to forensic lab to check it. Not only that, some suspicious stains was found in Tim Robinson's car mat. That Tim Robinson was none other than the neighbor who checked Kathy's house and without calling the police, escorted the police directly to the crime scene. So, the police sent his car's floor mat to the forensic for checking. What did the medical examiner say is, Kathy was probably dead 6 hours before her body was found. So, the murder must have taken place at around 1 p.m. on the day of the incident. When the police investigated, both Kathy's husband Mike and the neighbor Tim Robinson said that they were in their workplace at 1 p.m. The police also investigated in the company where they were working. Both Mike and Tim said that they were at work at that time. At the time when the investigation was going on like this, the 4-year-old Tasha regained her consciousness. When the police interrogated Tasha, she said that she remembered that a person came to their home that day. And when the police asked who he is and did she know him, what Tasha said is, when that person attacked her, he attacked her by covering his face with one of his hands. Why did the killer hide his face and attacked? Which means the killer knows Tasha, and Tasha must also know the killer. So since Tasha shouldn't identify his face, he attacked her by hiding his face. Tasha couldn't look at his face. But Tasha said that the person had yellow hair, that he had a blonde hair. By looking into that, the suspects of the police, Katie's husband Mike, didn't have blonde hair. Likewise, the neighbor, Tim Robinson, also doesn't have blonde hair. So the police asked Tasha about some other clues or identification. But apart from this, Tasha couldn't say anything and she doesn't remember anything else. Now, the test result came from the forensic lab. Not only the police, but everyone who saw that result was shocked. So, what was there in the test results? And how did the police found the killer? We'll see in the next video. Stay tuned.